Hey everybody, John asked me to give you guys a little bit of background on my experiences at Hopland and why I found it such a great place to work and why you should all work there. So just to give a little bit of background, I've been doing research at Hopland continuously since 1995. I started doing work there as a grad student, continued to do work there for 5 years when I lived on the East Coast and had a research position there. And since I've been at UC Davis, have always had some research at Hopland, as well as lots of my grad students have had their own independent projects at research at Hopland. There's so many great reasons to be there. First of all, the people are really awesome and the place is absolutely beautiful. And so it's just a place you fall in love with and you just love being. But beyond that, every project that I've done has really been vastly improved because of the great knowledge of the staff and the great vision and broad context of the staff, all of the great background data and long-term experiments that have been there, as well as the knowledge of the staff and how to really implement a project way better than often that I conceived of initially. And so just to give some examples, I've done a lot of work with plant-soil interactions, plant-animal interactions there, now have a lot of post-fire work. And they've always been able to provide way better input and insight into how my experiments should be. They've also been able to make my experiments way more ambitious than myself and my crew would be able to do, and that's for a few reasons. One is they're incredibly great at logistics and building fences. And like when I had to do seed fences for 340 plots, I literally cut through miles of hardware cloth and got that done. And there's no way that was ever going to happen without their help. Same thing in terms of doing small mammal exclosures. They got backhoes in there and dug meters down and put fencing down in there. And that is not something I could accomplish at a lot of other sites. They're also, in terms of not a lot of other sites, they're willing to do a lot of great manipulations in service of science. So whether it's grazing manipulations or prescribed fire or different types of weed abatement, they are very collaborative and willing to work with researchers to be able to do big, large-scale studies, not just small little meter-squared plot studies, which really helps in terms of the context of our research. It's also an amazingly diverse site, lots of different ecosystem types, and then even for a same ecosystem, very varied soils, very varied topography and aspect, and so you can really look at heterogeneity across the site in a way that's hard to do replicated in lots of different sites that you don't have the same type of control across those sites. In terms of now post-fire, there's so many great opportunities. And one of the things is for wildfires, we have very few cases where there's pre-wildfire data. And there's great pre-wildfire data all over the place at Hopland and lots of different ecosystems for soils, for plants, for wildlife. And so that allows for a template that we don't have in a lot of post-wildfire studies. They got out there right away and they got drone imagery, which is just an example of how aware they are of the kinds of things researchers need and the kinds of ideas and sort of key data that we can all build on and then build a bigger picture together. They're very aware of that. So always feel free to get in touch with me. I'm at UC Davis in Plant Sciences. I'm happy to share experiences or insights, and definitely come out to the field day in October. I'll also be there and be happy to chat with anybody who's got more questions. So that's it. Obviously, I'm a huge fan of Hopland. I can't wait to go in October just because, again, I love it and it's beautiful, and I get to check out a bunch of my plots just for fun rather than sampling it, and that's it.